Hey there. Welcome back to the Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast. Chris, should we tell people how to join the tour?
Of course. Whether you're a seasoned member or just tuning in to learn more, we're here to help you dive into the ins and outs of the tour. If you've been on the fence about joining, there's no better time than now. It's a fantastic way to play competitive golf, meet other passionate golfers, and step up your game.
Registration is open. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net. Click Join the Tour button and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And if you want to keep up with all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, make sure you're subscribed and listening to the podcast on your favorite platform. Don't forget to download each episode, share it with your golf buddies, and if you're enjoying the show, drop us a like and a review. Your feedback helps us grow the community and reach more golfers just like you. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's get into today's episode.
Welcome back, Chris. Hopefully you thawed out, saw some pictures of you at Firestone. You looked a little cold.
Yeah, definitely. It was cold out there. But no, it was a good time. Good time. Wish you were out there with us. A lot of guys were asking about you, so we know that we're getting listened to. But no, it was a great time, wonderful experience, and hopefully we'll go back again.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it, but hopefully we'll go back. And I did enjoy seeing some pictures, and got two tour directors got wins, so good times had by all.
Right.
From what I understand.
Right.
Without getting into too much. But I do want to make sure that we get this thing out of the way before we go any further, because we can't have any more of the debacle. This is the last podcast before Mother's Day, so we don't want to forget that. So happy Mother's Day.
Right, we're catching on. It took us a
To
while,
all
but
the
we're catching on.
Yeah. So, thank you, moms, for all that you do for us and the tour and everything else. If you're a mom on tour, thank you for your membership and friendship and what you do for the tour for yourself. It's very much appreciated. And
Yes,
Chris,
thank you.
We're still going to hell, but at least we did not forget this year.
No, we did not forget, and we're in good standing for 2025.
Well, we're in good standing for that piece. We've got a whole bunch of other things that are just you can just forget.
Yeah, just buckle up and get ready.
Yeah, so this we're in Military Appreciation Month, which is from a podcast perspective one of my favorite months, because we get to talk to veterans and active duty members of the tour, and it's just good times and hearing good stories.
Yeah, I get excited every time we do this, so we're gonna have a good time this month.
All right, bud. Ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Golfweek Amateur Tour proudly presents Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast, talking about all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, including interviews with tour directors, players, and course professionals. Now here are your hosts, Tim Newman and El Paso Las Cruces Tour Director, Chris Rocha.
Chris, welcome back to normal temperatures for you. I heard it was pretty cold out there at Firestone.
It was a little chilly, just for one day, just the first day. I think it was temperatures that they weren't expecting, from what the locals are telling me, but apparently anything in the Midwest can happen between March through May. So that might make deciding factors moving forward for us. But I had a great time. It was I'd go back, because the North Course in particular, I want a chance at that again in good weather. But it was fun. It was a great time. Great atmosphere. And yeah, I mean, you know how I am with cold, but
I do.
Honestly, I heard a bunch of people that either whether you text them or not, or they listen to the podcast, were like, "Hey, is it too cold for you? How you doing? It's a little cold." So I hope they're listeners and you didn't text them on the side,
Not,
but there was a good handful.
I didn't text anybody, but I did know that it was cold. You know, when Dennis sent some pictures, and people were all bundled up. I was like, oh my goodness, Chris. I think Chris probably gonna withdraw.
No, that wasn't an option, but it was a good time.
That's good to hear. We got a lot going on in this episode. Everybody knows it's now May, and this is one of my favorite months of the year. So we've got Military Appreciation Month. We're going to be highlighting our members who are either active duty or veterans of armed services. Can't thank them enough for what they've done, what they continue to do, and for being part of our part of the Golfweek family.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I announced at the tournament that I was looking for some people to come on the podcast, and right away had a group of people that come and wanted to give me their information and this and that. They want to be part of what we do for these special episodes. So it was great to get that information from them, and it's gonna be a fun time. I can't wait. Like I told them, they're basically gonna have the floor, and we get to learn about their stories that they had, and I think that's cool. Especially coming from me that wasn't part of the military. It's good to hear these stories.
Yeah. So we got military members. We've got our, this episode comes out on May 5th, and that's the deadline for the April members of the month nominations. And I don't know if you were copied on all of them, but we got a bunch.
I'm pretty sure I was. I had to stop that real quick and say don't reply all, but we did get a lot. So keep them coming throughout the year, especially them tour directors, because anything can happen now that all the tours are on high alert.
Well, I wasn't going to bring up that you were complaining about the reply all. I literally almost spit my drink out when I saw you complaining about stop reply all. I think it's funny. Jeff, the Indiana, Western Kentucky tour leader. Jeff, man, what's a few more emails? I know you get a lot, but what's a few more? I mean, and here's why I say that though, because I don't know. I've seen and looked through them. If you can see what other tour directors are doing, you can really kind of adjust your nomination.
But that's not the point, though.
Hey! I mean, this is all about competition here. I mean, you jabbed Dennis after the first round.
What can I say? If
it
was
me,
thinking,
first off, I'm thinking that's a bad move. I would not have done that. That's a bad move. But you do you.
He didn't bring it up. He probably forgot.
So I'm not even going to touch it. Let's move on. We got members of the month, but nominations coming in. Don't forget the Strixon Iron Raffle. Make sure you get in on that. But Chris, why don't you go ahead and introduce our first guest for this episode?
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, I put out the challenge at the regional in Ohio and got a good amount of people to come on. But this one that did come was one of the first two that was really excited to be a part of it. So we want to definitely welcome from the Cincinnati tour, local guy, Mr. Warren Hodges. Warren, how you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. There's nothing like coming on and jabbing Chris a little bit, about the cold weather. I don't know what he would have done if he was in the military. I mean, it's and you got to put up with whatever you got to put up with.
Hey, well, maybe it would have made me a different person. You never know.
No, Chris, I like you just the way that you are, buddy. So, Warren, thanks for joining us. You're a Navy veteran of 14 years. Thank you so much for your service, and thanks for joining us tonight, bud.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
So let's start off with why you joined the service, why the Navy, and tell us a little bit about your career in the Navy.
All right. Yeah, sure. So why the Navy? That's a good question. My entire family was Army. I had a cousin that went to West Point. My grandfather was the Adjutant General of the state of Maryland. So, um, why the Navy? I guess just my high school football was coming to an end. I didn't have anybody from college looking at me like, hey, Plus my SATs were terrible.
I understand.
Nobody really wanted a dumb lineman that bad. So,
Mm.
so ended up going into the recruiting office with a bunch of buddies, and they went to the Air Force, and I went to the Air Force. And at the time, I was like 6'3", 220 pounds. Three sport athlete in high school. And they're like, "No, you're too big, man." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fair enough." So I just walked across the hallway and I went and talked to the Navy cats, and they were like, "Hey, we'll go ahead and do this and do this." "Oh, cool, you're inside body fat standards. You're good to go." So next thing I know, I graduate high school and I'm off to Great Lakes up there, North Chicago.
Oh my.
So, and I guess that was good time in November, December, and January.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Probably nice weather.
it was great weather. It was like playing on Saturday in Akron. It was amazing. Like, like literally, we would be soaked in sweat out on the grinder after we just got punished for whatever, and we had to march
Yeah.
to whatever building we're going to. And by the time we got where we were going, our shirts were frozen
Oh my
solid.
God.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's pretty much what it was like. And I mean, it might have been a 5-minute jaw or a 5-minute march, but by the time we got where we were going, any water that was on your body was frozen. So,
Wow. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, so I, I'm an Army guy, Army infantry, and I did my base training at Fort Benning. But I was base training for me was October to February, and it does get cold in Columbus, Georgia, but not Chicago cold. I mean, cold Columbus, Georgia is like 35. It's definitely Great Lakes cold. That's for sure.
yeah, Chicago was a whole nother cold.
So what was your MOS?
I was actually a airplane mechanic, so I did hydraulics and structures, and I actually painted aircraft for a little while there.
Wow.
But went down to Pensacola to learn how to be an airplane mechanic. That was pretty cool while we were down there. Uh, I don't think they had the Blue Angels there at the time because that's where they're at now, and that's where they're
Mhm.
doing the training. But I don't ever remember seeing them fly over while I was there. Um, had a good time while I was down in Pensacola. Got to play basketball against Roy Jones Jr.
How about that?
That was
Wow.
something else. Yeah. Um, from there, I then went to Whidbey Island, Washington, which is like 2 hours south of Vancouver. We'll say the Canadian border, and about 2 hours north of Seattle. So you're out there on the Puget Sound. So when I was there, I was working on this aircraft called the EA-6B Prowler.
Okay.
So people probably like, what kind of aircraft is that? So
Yeah.
if anybody ever remembers the Intruder, the A6,
Yeah.
so it's basically kind of the same body style with the two wings and the two horizontal stabilizers and one vertical stabilizer. But it has two cockpits where you have two people sitting in the front, two people in the back. And so it kind of looked like a big drumstick from the side,
Wow.
like a drumstick
Mhm.
out of a bucket of chicken. Yeah.
You made me hungry now.
But this aircraft was it was electric countermeasures. So
Okay.
we'd fly in the air and we would jam, incoming radar signals, and then we would drop what we called a HARM or high speed anti radiation missile directly on the battery or whatever we targeted.
Huh.
And basically that's what we did. Um, while I was there, and we'd be on Washington, wasn't a whole lot to do. If you like to do four wheeling and then you know, trout fishing, that was your spot. Golf season wasn't very long. It's probably when I first started playing golf, because I didn't have anything to do.
Right.
And I mean, a nice day was usually around, mid 80s, no humidity.
Oh, that's
and,
Chris's
you know,
weather.
yeah.
I love that.
Some of the best summers I've had were out there because it's just the weather was awesome. But yeah, I was there for about 6 years. Became a recruiter, and then went back to Baltimore. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
Recruited out of Baltimore, actually, Dundalk, which is like the east
Yeah.
side of Baltimore. So I had, that side of Baltimore County to recruit out of while I was, recruiting. I moonlight as a bouncer at a bar downtown. So that was kind of fun too. Didn't get to play a
Nice.
whole lot of golf, unfortunately, while I was in Maryland. The demands of being a recruiter were just
Right.
a lot. We didn't have a whole lot of free time to do anything, but bounce at night. I found time for that.
Nighttime's always free, right?
Yeah, nighttime was usually free unless I'm, taking somebody to MEPS at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and that's probably not a good idea. It's probably
Yeah,
not.
that's never a fun day the next day.
No. So where in Maryland are you from? I wonder why the 443. I mean, that's where I'm from. But I've been going from there for a while. I actually, when I went in the military, and I'm much older than you, but when I went in, I personally never went back, and that's not true. Forget I said that.
Liar.
I do remember. I do remember living back there, but that's my Pennsylvania number is that's why. But where in Maryland are you from?
So there's a little town outside of Baltimore on the northeast side. It's called Joppatown. It's in Harford County.
Yeah.
So that's where I went to high school, and that's where I grew up.
Yeah, when I said that's where I actually lived in Harford County in Bel Air when I went back.
Wow.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot, man.
Wow.
But yeah,
Maryland's not that big.
No. So that's awesome. So where'd you go after being a recruiter?
So after I was a recruiter, I went down to NAS Oceana in Virginia Beach.
Oh yeah.
And I started working on the new Super Hornet, which was, I mean, the best thing in the world because it was so easy to work on. Because I mentioned the EA-6B Prowler earlier. That was it was built in like the 60s and 70s, right? And so it had a bunch of linkages and cables and pulleys and this and that, so on and so forth. That that's part of my job is to rig all that stuff so everything moves properly, and also like just trying to take a panel off to get to the space you're going to was an hour-long job just to get the panel off and to get access because there's so many screws. But somebody, when they developed the Super Hornet, they actually talked to the maintainers, said, "Hey, what would make y'all's life easier?" And honestly, you'd have a panel with 12 bolts on it. You pull the bolts off, and you're like, "Oh, look at that! The actuator to work on is right there. I don't have to take anything else out." And there's no pulleys, there's no cables, there's no nothing of that. You just get in the computer, you just get in the cockpit now, turn the engines on, do whatever you got to do and line it up and rig it through that and save it and off you go.
That's awesome. So how much training was there to be able to work on these aircraft?
Yeah, so I think when I went to what we call A school, which is when I was down in Pensacola and learned how to be an aircraft mechanic, that's probably 2 months.
Wow.
So the first month I remember was kind of like you were, honing in on like your metalsmith skills. Like if you had to repair battle damage in the skin of the aircraft or something like that. So a lot of riveting, bending, doing all kinds of measurements, things like that with aluminum. And then once you got through that portion, then you went into like your hydraulics portion side, where it was more about troubleshooting. So if you have a actuator that goes bad, how am I going to troubleshoot to understand that that's the part that's broken, not a different part inside the line of succession for whatever system it is, right? So you kind of just learned how to do that little bit of troubleshooting, and then they would have you pull a part off of a jet, and then put it back in the jet, and then you'd run hydraulics through it and stuff like that, make sure it worked. So yeah, so that was about 2 months long.
Wow. Did you ever get, obviously not be a pilot, but did you ever get to fly in one of those?
I never got to fly in the Super Hornet. I did get to fly in a C2, which is a COD. So they basically deliver mail and people.
All right.
I got to do a catch shot and a trap. So I launched off the aircraft carrier on that, and I've caught the wire on one. Yeah.
How much fun was that?
How much fun was that? I mean, knowing some of the people that worked on these jets, I was like, oh boy.
Okay, here we go.
But I guess the catch shot is, so you're facing backwards first of all, right? So you're facing the tail end of the aircraft, and you're just sitting there, and the catch shot, you hear the engines revving, and you're just sitting there, and you're vibrating this little jump seat. And then you have no idea what's going on because there's no windows. You can't see anything. Next thing you know, it's, we're moving. and then it goes from like rattling to just smooth, and you're like, okay, cool, we're in the air, we're not in the water, and we're moving forward, we're good to go. The trap, when we caught the trap, so airplanes coming in, and what they do is they they go into their pattern, so they catch this loop.
Mhm.
And when he hit that loop and they bank it sideways, you pulled a couple of G's and you didn't know they were there. And yeah, next thing you know, you're like, oh, I just passed out for a hot second.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're then on arrival and the airplane's bouncing up and down and everything is, and you're just, okay, all right, we're on final, we're doing our thing, we're level, we're doing our thing. And next thing you know, it's just boom on the deck and everything slows down. You're like, cool, we're not taking off again. Yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
so when you were taking off, was there any warning, or just
None.
You're just
Zero warning. You're just sitting
so
there.
you better be strapped in.
Oh yeah, you're strapped in. You got everything's rattling. Your teeth are rattling inside your head, and next thing you know, and you're gone. You're like, oh, it wasn't so bad.
Yes, and Chris, I'd like to try that once.
Me too.
Once, I'd like to try it once. Yeah,
I mean that's what I was gonna do when I was hoping to get into the Air Force was fly jets, and when they said you have classes you can, I was like, I'll probably never get a chance to do this.
Yeah. So I was in the 82nd Airborne when I was in the Army. So, jumping out of airplanes and that sort of thing. And I'm scared of heights, but I would do something like that just for the experience, right? Just for that adrenaline rush and give it a shot. But I'd also like to fly in one of those jets and obviously I wouldn't want to pass out. I know I would, but just to get somewhat of a feeling of what that actually feels like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like, I guess the closest thing I could say it feels like if you ever been on a roller coaster and there's one of those roller coasters, you sit down, you get locked in, and all of a sudden, boom, you're gone, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you just roll out slow. You just boom. That's
Right.
That's the closest thing to it.
Right.
But at least you can
I love
see it.
those.
You kind of have an idea, like, oh yeah, we're getting ready to roll out.
So what's your best memory of being in the Navy?
Oh my goodness. This is a family show, right?
It is a family show. You can tell us some other stuff offline, but
Oh my gosh.
Well, like
Man.
PG-13, not really that much family.
I know. I'm trying to think of something that just sticks out in my head. So I mean, there was a lot of partying going on. So I don't recall a whole lot between my, like, say, 19 years old to maybe 26 or so.
right.
I just know we had a great time and all of us got through it pretty unscathed. But for like a sentimental value, I'd probably say I re-enlisted for my second time, and I got to re-enlist in the armory that was named after my grandfather.
How about that?
Yeah. So, and that was if you're familiar, on Edgewood Arsenal, right
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for Aberdeen Proving Ground.
How about that?
Yeah. So it's now the a Major General Warren D. Hodges armory.
Dude, that's special.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Even my commanding officer, when she was re-enlisting, she said, not often do I get to re-enlist a sailor that has his name on the building.
Yeah, so don't you forget about it.
Yeah.
You just remember who I am.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's when you think about things like that, and who obviously they don't just put people's names on buildings for nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's special, and we've been doing. So Chris, this is our third year doing this.
Yep.
And the number of people that we've talked to, and some of the things that we've learned that our veterans have done, amazing stuff. That Warren, I'm gonna tell you what, that's got to be one of the top things I've ever heard.
Thanks. Glad I could share with y'all.
I am too. That's special. So, I'm gonna throw it down, but top that, beat that.
Damn, I don't want to be that guy.
Hey, I told you, man. We give you the floor, and we love to hear these stories. So that's one of the
we really
stories that
do.
we like to hear.
So you've been part of the tour for 5 years now, and Chris, I pulled up his scoring chart.
Of course you did.
Of course I did, right? I got to look. He's got 77 rounds in 5 years.
Wow.
Chris, Warren, you don't miss.
I try not to. I mean, I got to qualify for Hilton Head, so.
Yeah, well, that's, it's not gonna be cold when you come down here in October.
Oh no, it's not. It's a great time.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is it about the tour that has you hooked?
That's a good question. I mean, that's a really good question. There's a lot of things like, so, I actually I got acquainted with the tour when I was playing with the Veterans Golf Association. So I did
Okay.
that for 1 year.
Mhm.
And we played a shared event with them, and all my buddies that, were in the VGA as well. We're like, who are these guys? We're like, what is this? So on and so forth. We had a chance to get into like the super skins and all that stuff. And so we did that. And one thing I noticed is that at the end, the presentation of the awards and the money, I was like, this is a little different than the VGA. I was like, all right. And then I started looking into it, and I saw that, oh, sorry.
That's
I'm
right.
trying there we go. Just wanted to pause the television where I had better lighting. But so I saw it was being run, and I got to look into it, and I said, wow, they have way more events that are closer together than the VGA. The VGA is kind of like a mishmash of, or at least at the time, it was like we didn't know when the next tournament was. We didn't know how
Right.
many tournaments were going to be. So we said, all right, so let me check out this Golf Weekly. So, I talked to all my friends and, guys I play in league with. I dragged some of those guys over, and I mean, my buddy Kenny Cobb, my buddy Dwayne Coker were the two guys initially that came over with me.
Okay.
And then we just kind of, grabbed everybody else, started filling up the roster on the Golf Weekly side for Cincinnati Dayton. But then again, I noticed that, everybody we played with, everybody was cool. Everybody had a good time. If somebody needed a little bit of education, say on golf etiquette or whatever, everybody kind of, hey, I'd prefer you not do this. You prefer you not do that. Okay, not a problem,
Right.
man. Gotcha. I understand where you're coming from, because everybody has those little niches on the course, right?
Right.
But just being able to again meet all these different guys and have a good time, and go out there and compete. That's probably one of the biggest things
Mhm.
is just the competition in general. You know, uh, just being able to fill that need for competition as an athlete my entire life. I get to go out there and I get to play with guys
Right.
that are in the area that they're not my friends. The people that I don't know that well. I don't go out drinking with them at 5 o'clock
Mhm.
on a Friday afternoon.
Mhm.
So I get to go out there, compete with those guys, and have those guys push me to try to be a better golfer, because some of these guys have sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your tour
Yeah.
director Tyler had a really good weekend.
Oh, Tyler had a real. Tyler seems to have a really good weekend when it counts.
See,
Because I
that's
think
that's what you need to do.
French Lick last year, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Did he
It's
win?
his second regional win.
He's whatever it takes, man.
I mean, he bashes the ball, so that helps.
Good for him.
He's ready for A flight. Just saying.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Oh, I told him. I told him numerous times.
See, well, Chris, you need some more competition up there, man.
I need to be competition.
So, what's your favorite course to play on tour?
Whew, that's a good one. I mean, now we get to play Firestone every year, so I mean, Firestone right now probably the top of the list.
Yeah.
But NCR South,
Okay.
that is a legit golf course. Reminds me a little bit of NCR South.
Okay.
I think it's longer actually than Firestone. So NCR South is amazing. I got to play Springfield Country Club for the first time this year. That's amazing. I'd love to play that when the weather was a little better and the trees had leaves. I'm trying to think. I'd probably say, yeah, again, NCR, Springfield, probably the top two like local courses that I've played. I mean, also Stone Lick Hills down in Cincinnati. That's a phenomenal course as well. Great public course too. So, Those are probably the 3 courses that I like the best in the Cincinnati Dayton Tour on a regular basis. So
Yeah,
other than that, haven't really played any other any other places other than Hilton Head. So
mhm. You guys played at NCR South a few weeks ago. How'd you do there?
I had a rough day. It seemed as like a green and regulation was impossible to find. Getting off the tee was a little issue, and then just in general, just short games, just absolute trash.
Well, it's
Uh,
still early. It's still early. It's only April. Well,
it is.
it's
It,
May now. It's May now, but
it is
it'll come
early,
around.
but unfortunately, up here in Ohio, we don't get to like actually chip off and through rough and grass like that during the summertime because it's snow. So you'd think we'd be great sand players,
Yeah, it will.
but yeah,
Well, Warren, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Thank you for your service to our country. I really do appreciate it.
very welcome.
This is my favorite month of the year when we do these interviews. Talking to you guys and some of the things that you've done. Um, it's really truly amazing. Even from you know my service was 3 years, but I like you come from a military family, so I kind of have an idea. But some of the things that you all are doing now are just blow me away. I mean, it's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you for your service too.
I appreciate it. So, well, you take care of yourself, and we'll definitely see you in Hilton Head.
That's the plan.
All right, buddy.
I
Take care.
appreciate you, Warren.
All right. Take it easy.
Let's take a break from the show to hear about Strixon's ZX Mark II irons.
A great iron set needs more than good looks. It's gotta be fast and gotta be pure. But good looks never hurt either. The all-new ZX Mark II irons from Strixon.
Tim, we just continue to have great stories from, our members in the military, whether active or veterans, and Wayne Hodges just put that icing on the cake so far. So, like you said, it's gonna be tough to beat.
Yeah, that's a heck of a story. Re-enlisting in the building named after your grandfather on a military installation. He's got to be so proud, but it's obviously one of the coolest things ever. I think, and I also loved how open he was and just talked about the good times he had that he didn't really remember.
Right. I would assume that a lot of military people go through those times. So he wasn't afraid to talk about it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he
No.
has good off-air stories to tell.
Yeah, and think about it from a different perspective there. I mean, dude's 18 years old, and his job is, airplane mechanic.
Yeah.
These multi-million-dollar machines that are defending our country, and 18-year-old kid is responsible for maintenance and repairing those things. That's a lot of responsibility.
For sure.
That's bottom line.
On anybody.
Yeah. So, well, let's bring in our next guest, and I've been on this gentleman for a long time, and let me just tell you something. He doesn't miss. Wayne doesn't miss. When we bring him on, I'm going to give you a stat that it's incredible. But let's go ahead and again, I've done this before. Let's go ahead and bring Chris Legare from the Hilton Head Tour on. Chris, welcome to the show. Thanks for spending some time with us, bud.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I've known you for a long time, and I've been hoping to get you on, and I think this is a good reason to. But you're a veteran of the Army.
Correct.
How long did you serve?
I served for 2.5 years, actually.
Yep.
It wasn't very long, but it was pleasant.
Well, that's all right. I did about 3 years and about the same. And what was your MOS?
I was 12 Bravo. I was a combat engineer.
Oh, wow.
I got to serve with the 299th Engineer Battalion, 03 to 05. The last combat unit the last actually tour that we did as a combat unit on the 299th Engineer Battalion out of Fort Hood, Texas. long time with,
There's-
299th goes back hundreds of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
so what?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Ask away, buddy. I'm an open book. I love it.
So when you served on the combat tour, where were you?
We deployed with the 101st Airborne Unit, March of 03.
Okay.
And we also deployed with the 3rd ID. Yeah, we started out in Mosul, out of Iraq.
Mhm.
We spent about 3 or 4 months in Humvees and 5-ton trucks, sleeping in and out, tents. Honestly, just clearing pathways for the rest of the combat units to come back through and make sure everybody was secure. My job was to basically clear the way for infantry. Infantry always claims to be the first ones in, last ones out. Engineers are obviously overlooked. And it's an honor to actually it's an honor to say that, because infantry gets so much, and I admire what they do. Don't get me wrong. But we, as engineers, we have to think about the way that the rest of them have to come through.
Correct.
And landmines, obviously, we have to clear the way with Bangalore torpedoes. It's hard to explain to people that have never experienced it, and it's an honor to be able to share it. It's hard too, because obviously people that I talk to, I don't have very many friends that I can share it with. So the 299th Infantry Battalion, we go back in history. We enjoy what we do. We're hoorah. We're all about it. So we spent 4 to 5 months in Mosul. Worked our way down south towards Tikrit. We took over to the 7 palaces of Saddam.
Wow.
We harbored probably 375 soldiers in the 7 palaces of Saddam. We were a mile off of Highway 1. And we heard, every night it was mortars after mortar after mortar, every 15 seconds. Sorry. We enjoyed what we did, but it's a lot of suffering that a lot of young guys have to go through.
Yeah.
So my tour.
I appreciate you sharing this, bud.
My tour was 347 days.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and just hearing this story, kind of puts it into perspective, or hopefully puts it into perspective for people who haven't served and don't truly understand some of the things that people like you have gone through. Even me, I didn't serve in combat. My brother did. And I can't imagine the things that
there's
you all
stories
put through and what you
there's
have to deal with.
stories, honestly, there's stories that he can't share with anybody else that has no recollection or no idea what he went through. And just like the redeployment process, whenever you come back and they put you through that 2-week redeployment process, it's BS. There's people that are interviewing you that have no idea, that have never seen a step foot in combat. And they have to be able to put you through the redeployment process of coming back into the States and kicking old habits, what you used to over the last 360 days. It's just,
Right.
I mean, there's no comparison. Nobody can understand what you're going through or what you have been through unless they've been there themselves. And with even the veterans, the VA hospital, there's people that I've completely dropped my case because I'm put in front of people that have never been and they don't understand what I've been through. That's the thing. That's the change that I would love to see with our VA benefits. That is completely BS, and I'm sorry about it. Sorry to say that, but there's...
Well, Chris, that's reality.
They need to have, it is, and we have to accept it, regardless of what we've been through. So we have to swallow what we have been through to try and change or to try and get through to these people and make them understand what we've been through, even though they don't know what we've been through. It's just...
Or at least get you in front of somebody who get you in front of somebody who does understand it and can help you deal with some of those things.
Absolutely. I love it.
Well,
it's something I would never wish upon my worst enemy. And I wouldn't change it for the world, because you know what? We still see each other. All of our combat buddies, we see each other every year out of Fort Hood.
Good.
And we meet up in Austin every year. And that's the thing. That's another thing that brings me to another point where people that have been in combat, we have to learn to trust people on their word. And first impressions are everything. We have to learn to trust people quickly, because obviously out there we had to trust them to have our SIGs. I mean, we have to.
Right.
And it's, if we can't trust them that way, then there's no other way that we can trust them. And it's first impressions are everything for me. First and foremost. And it's hard to lose somebody out in combat, honestly. Even somebody you grew up with or went to basic training with, and you go to the same station as each other, and we obviously we deploy with each other. And it's the way that Army was taught, we got to pick up and move on, regardless of the situation. If we're fighting beside our battle buddy that we have gone to basic training with, or our best friend, whatever, and he's shot, he's dead, we can't sit there and sulk and reminisce on the old times. And I mean, we have to quickly pick up and move on. We have to take it with a grain of salt, and we got to move on.
Right.
I had to do that a few times, and it's the hardest part of the job. Hardest part.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your service and being able to talk about it. You know, we had somebody on last year who was kind of reluctant to come on, but he did, and I saw him a few weeks ago, and what he told me was he was so thankful that he did come on and start to share, because it opened up some things, and he's gone to gotten some help for it, and he's felt like a weight lifted off. And I'm not saying that
in a sense,
that's
and
going to happen with everybody, but
it's not the entire weight, but it's a little bit of able to open up and talk about it and get it out. I mean, obviously put it into the atmosphere and let God first and foremost. I just love the fact that you guys are doing this. It's making people aware of. It's just it's just all the trauma. It's just all the trauma that people have to deal with 20 years later. That that people don't understand. We still deal with it. We're going to deal with it for the rest of our lives. and that's not that we can take back.
Yeah.
All we can do is suck it up,
and-
drive on.
I mean,
Take it with a
Chris,
grain of salt. Sorry,
Right.
go ahead.
I mean, I will say this, man. Meeting you for the first time, you know, you do say first impressions are a big thing. You left a pretty big impression, you know. It's not easy for somebody to come up and say, hey, I want to share my story. And you being the first one to come up to me, never meeting me, really means a lot for you to be able to share that. So I do appreciate that. But, you know, I mean, let us know as well, like, how did golf help you either get through everything that you've gone through? You know, did you start playing golf before you joined, after you joined, during? Because we all know golf can also be a outlet.
Golf is huge. I actually just golf came into my life at 11 years old, and it was my way of kind of disconnecting from what was going on in my life at the time.
Right.
It's my time to be at one with nature and forget about everything that's going on and focus on the moment. Because all you can do is change the future and the present. You can make certain decisions that will change your future, but in the present, if you live in the present, it will make you focus a little bit more on the future. If you understand what I'm saying, it's kind of it's kind of one-on-one. It's hand in hand with if you don't worry about the past, because obviously you can't change the past. Can never change the past.
Right.
My future is still up in the air, depending on what I do in the present. So what I do now is going to make my life that much better in the future. The past is,
for sure.
I have to deal with the past. I have to deal with the past, and I have to learn how to deal with the past. And vocalizing it and getting it into the atmosphere, once again, is one of my biggest pet peeves. It's, the future is unattainable until you reach for it. And if you make that right decision in the present, it's going to make that much more attainable. I'm just so grateful to be where I'm at in this day. I'm actually taking my captain's license tomorrow for the next weekend, this weekend and next weekend. So I'll be able to take up to 6 paying people. And my fishing, me being in my boat, is my release. It's my happy place, aside from the golf course.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm so
who's going to be your first 6?
I don't know yet. Whoever wants to be there, man. You guys, if you ever come down, if you want to come down in October, right? You're going to be there October, correct? Obviously, you still live in Hilton Head,
Well,
Tim.
Chris, you know, I
go ahead.
I lost you there, but Chris, you know, I live on the island. I'm here.
Yeah, you guys are off of Arrow Road, right? And the RV park.
Yeah, right off Arrow Road. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're gonna make it happen. Once I get certified, pass all the tests, get my CPR, and get my TWIC card, we'll be good to go. No worries. And anytime you and Jen want to get out in the boat and just go on a sunset cruise, I'd love it. Let's make it happen.
That'd be great.
That is my happy place. I feel like I'm not even working if I'm in the boat, and that's why I want to do things that don't stress me out, and I can be in my happy place and just do my thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm with you on that. So what's your best golf moment on tour?
My best golf moment on tour. Has it got to be on the Yeah. Okay, my best golf moment on tour. First time I met Dennis.
Okay. I can
Of
see that.
Of all people.
I can see that.
People. I know. Yeah. So it's it was strange.
We wouldn't be here without him, though, right?
No, nobody would be here without him.
Right.
31 years, man. That's such a feat. That's crazy to think about it. 31 years, man. I couldn't imagine having that much stress with him and Jen.
Yeah.
So my best moment on tour was the moment I met Dennis. Where was my first tournament?
Hold on, I can tell you. I got
Did you do research?
Yeah,
Do
of
it.
course,
I love
Chris.
it.
Come on, I did. You know I did. So your first tournament was Icebreaker in 2017 at the Jones course.
Okay. So I brought a 12-pack of Michelob Ultra, and yeah, Mac. I introduced myself to Dennis because you know how Dennis likes to play with the first, like the new members, just to feel them out.
Right.
And he introduced himself. I was like, "Look, my name's Chris. I'm from Beaufort. Blah blah blah." He was like, "Look, do you like to drink?" I said, "Yes, sir." Obviously, he said, and he was like, "Do you like to gamble?" I said, "Yes, sir, absolutely." I said, "I like to gamble a little bit, but I mean, I'm still kind of fresh on the tour. I need to feel people out." And he's like, "All right, so obviously you like to drink. So next time, don't bring this water bullshit. Bring
Wait a second.
bring the silver bullets."
Don't bring that water. Bring this water.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of my favorite moments. And ever since then, me and Dennis have been side by side in everything that we do. I mean, this tour has brought so much joy to my life, and I've met a lot of really great people.
Yeah.
And I would never take it back for any moment in my life. It's I mean, Dennis is like a second father to me, honestly. And he would say the same thing about me.
Well, I don't know if you know this. I know he thinks the world of you because he talks about you a lot. I mean,
He's one of my favorite people.
Mhm.
He's one of my favorite people. I mean, a lot of people hate him, and there's a love-hate relationship. I mean, honestly, there's no gray area whenever it comes to Dennis. Either you love him or you hate him. A lot of people take his stern voice for maybe being almost ridiculed. But he means well.
He does.
He means well.
Yeah, he does.
He's seen me at my worst and he's seen me at my best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm gonna say about that. He's done a lot for me.
Yeah, there's not many
As he
people
has
like
for a lot of
Dennis.
other people.
For a lot of people, yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people on this tour. You know, here's one of the things that, and I'm not going to give specifics on this.
Sure.
He helps people, and nobody ever knows about it, ever.
Yeah.
And he goes out of his way to do things for people, not asking for anything back, not for any other reason, because that's who he is. He's somebody that helps people. And I'll just Chris, and I'll leave it there. And that's,
he's an angel in disguise, man, and a lot of people don't see it.
Yeah.
But they'll feel it later on in life. They will. They'll experience it.
Exactly.
Right.
You know,
Now, you guys are awesome. And Tim, I mean, you guys have always had a smile on your face, regardless of what you guys are going through. And it, I mean, for the ones that are going through shitty times, seeing those smiles go a long way.
Right.
Honestly. I mean, it's
I appreciate that, Chris. I really do.
it's a whole nother level with mentorship and advice and just being there for one another.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the tour.
You know, and
But yeah,
that's what the tour to me is about.
so
It's about sharing these times.
Yes, sir. So the whole army experience, I loved it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Get to you. What are you chugging on? Little Diet Coke?
Diet cheer wine.
What?
So
Silver
let
bullet,
me
baby.
tell you a story about that.
Silver bullet.
That's that other water. See.
Yes.
So when I was in the Army, I was stationed at Fort Bragg, right? And that's where I got turned on to cheer wine. And I've been drinking cheer wine for
Cheer wine. Love
I
it.
got out in 1989. So I've been drinking cheer wine for 35 years.
What is that?
It's a cherry soda.
It's
Okay.
it's like a cherry drink.
Does it come in a baby bottle?
Get the hell out of here. When you're old enough to grow a mustache, come talk to me. but it's bottled or brewed or whatever you want to call it, whatever you get a
Bottled,
soda,
correct.
right, in Salisbury, North Carolina, right? It's
Yes,
it's
sir.
a local. It's awesome.
Have you ever heard of
But
Dr. Eno?
so Chris, yeah,
I experienced my first Dr. Enough in Banner Rock, North Carolina. Actually, yeah.
it's
I met
but
the
my-
pro that I worked for up in Diamond Creek. His father and mother-in-law were the ones that actually came up with it.
oh wow,
Wow.
Pretty neat.
that's
Pretty
awesome.
neat. Maybe go out and buy a case of it. I was like, all right, screw it. I'm gonna support you. But I support everything. I mean, Golf Week has been huge. I love Golf Week. I promote it everywhere I go. I talk it up as much as I can. For people that never heard of it, I love it. And once they Google it and they experience it for the first time, they're like, wow. It's like the first I don't know, outer body experience is what I can say it is. Cause you, I mean, you'll never meet anybody. You'll never meet people that are the same as you, or the, how do I want to phrase that? You'll never meet anybody the same. You never see anybody in the same vision as you did before you knew them, before they knew about Golf Week.
Right.
Right.
I mean, there's a whole array of people that have been through so many experiences. And if you want to share, people are open to hear it. And that's what I love about
Yes.
it. It's a family. And that's
Agreed.
the best way that I can express it. I mean, it's Golf Week is a family.
Yep.
And Dennis is like the godfather. And I love that.
Don't tell him that.
Hey, he has had me sleep on it. I've been able. He's welcomed me. Him and Jen have welcomed me into their home for 3 or 4 nights, and whenever I need them. And that's a whole nother explanation. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's.
But
But
like
that's
I
who
said,
they are.
Dennis.
I mean, it's
But like I said,
know.
Dennis is like my father, like my second father. And I want to say my dad's a little jealous of it because I do spend a little more time with Dennis than I do my own dad. But it's family. It's family. And this is what I appreciate about you guys. Thank you so much for hearing me out and my little half-drunk story, but it is what it is.
Well, Chris, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you've done, and hit me up, and you and I will go and we'll go grab beer and or 2 or 10 or whatever it takes, and
I'd love
and
to.
hang out, and
Let's get out in the river, man.
let's do it.
Let's get out in the
All right,
river.
bud.
Buddy, guys, thank you so much. Spot on.
All right. You take
Appreciate
care,
it, guys.
Chris.
Definitely. We'll be in touch.
Let's take a break from the show to hear about Srixon's ZX Mark II drivers.
ZX Mark II drivers are for major players, major winners, major power. All new ZX Mark II drivers, only from Srixon.
Chris, when we do these interviews with veterans, we never truly know what they're going to say, because we don't ask questions beforehand. We bring them on and we say let's hear what you want to talk about. And the emotion that Chris shared is touching, and what I think a lot of people who aren't veterans or who don't understand some of the trauma that they've been through, it's traumatic, and we've got to do a better job in society taking care of these guys. I mean,
For sure.
to hear some of the things that he's struggling with in terms of the VA, that's just, to me, that's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Completely agree. I mean, you can tell the passion he had about it, and even though it, for the average person, 2 years might not seem a lot, but I think every day that they're out there is a month worth of information and decision making and stress and all of that just piles up. Super thankful for all the people we talked to and all the people that have served for our country, but also more importantly, the fact that he was able to kind of bring down those walls and talk to us about it. At some point we're kind of like, I don't want to say we're shrinks, but at least we can build that rapport and that comfortability to be able to just talk to us about it.
Yeah, and he really does appreciate that. Number one, the opportunity to be able to share, and number two, that we're interested in hearing it and actually listening to what he has to say. That's the other piece.
Right, because anything could happen.
Right. He mentioned the battalion that he was in, the 299th Combat Engineer Battalion, and the kind of history that they had, but he didn't mention history. And what a lot of people don't know is they do have some serious history there. They were the first engineer battalion on Omaha Beach on D-Day.
Wow.
Okay. And if I would just suggest that if you don't know the history of D-Day or what happened or the casualties that happened on D-Day, go take a look.
Yeah, for sure.
The D-Day Memorial is in Bedford, Virginia, which is just outside of Lynchburg, and my father, he volunteered there before he died, and so we had the opportunity a number of times to go and really get into some of the history of D-Day, and the reason why the memorial is in Bedford is because Bedford lost more people per capita on D-Day than any other town in the United States.
Wow. And I mean, it's a lot of people.
That's what they took serious casualties. When we went a number of times, but we had the opportunity to talk to some veterans who actually landed on D-Day who were from Bedford, and hearing some of those stories. So when Chris talks about that battalion, yeah, they've got history.
Right.
Too bad they led the 101st in when Chris was in, because everybody knows the 82nd is way better than the 101st.
I'm not gonna go into that. I'm gonna leave that with you.
You should just leave it right there.
Yep.
But again, we're all brothers in this, and that part is good fun and good jokes. But understand that when we talk to Warren, he's got good stories and that sort of thing. But we also have to understand the other side of that.
Right.
And that's why when people, but remember, we're all volunteers. So when people volunteer to go into the armed services, that's what they know can happen.
Right.
And we're so thankful for them and what they do and what they have done and what they continue to do for us, and for us to be able to do this, Chris, because there's places in the world that you can't do this.
Right. We're lucky to be able to do everything that we do, but also give that platform for others to come on here and talk.
Yeah, so that's first installment. I'm looking forward to our next episode. To have a couple more veterans on and hear their stories,
Right.
and go from there. But Warren, want to thank you. Really do appreciate the time and the stories, and Chris, same to you. And we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we see him at nationals and we're able to connect. And I know Chris will be there. He's gone. I mean, he's on the island. He's got nowhere else to be that weekend.
Well, you know, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this with him, but he's got 170 rounds.
Right.
And okay, so he right now he only has five rounds in 2025. Okay, and so if you take from 2017 through 2024, 7 full years, okay, he's averaging 23 rounds a year.
That's almost tour director numbers right there.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't miss. He travels. He goes regionals. He just doesn't miss an event. And what those who don't know Chris, when he shows up with a smile on his face, and he puts a smile on other people's faces. And that's
no matter what, beginning or end of the round.
Yep. So thank them both, and looking forward to the next episode with a couple more stories.
For sure.
Let's hear about Firestone. Let's hear about Firestone from you and your perspective. I know you didn't have your ideal 80-degree, no humidity, no rain, no wind weather, but let's hear it.
Honestly, I enjoyed the north more than the south. I might be a few that did that. But there's like 7 or 8 holes that are touching a lake somehow. And I think that can make or break a whole tournament. And then when you get up there in the hills, you know, there's trees everywhere. It's not easy. And the south just seemed real straightforward. Every par 4 was straight. Every par 3 straight. You know, only the par 5s really had some different looks. So I really enjoyed the north. I would love to go back and take on the north with better weather, because I mean, it was, from what someone was telling me, 30-degree wind chill. So it was cold. I had underlayer, shirt, hoodie, rain jacket, and still hand warmers. It was that cold. Well, my riding partner, the guy that was driving, had a blanket, so you can imagine.
So you just telling me that I would have been inside? Is that what
You
you're
would have been
saying?
inside the whole time, which isn't bad, because inside was nice and beautiful too. But you probably would have been inside the whole time. It was worse than when we went to Vegas. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I would have been inside.
But great time though. I had a great time, both groups. Second day I was in like the second to last group, but I had one of the guy that I was riding with, he got all the way up to like 5th place. He went on a 6-hole birdie run out of nowhere. It was crazy.
Did he win any money?
I think he won a skin and a super skin. My brother at one point had a skin and a super skin for about 2 hours. That was $1,200.
But he didn't walk away with it.
No, and it was a par 5 that he eagled. He holed out from 108 yards, and he was telling me that he hit the shot. It was online. He started walking back to the cart and never saw it go in. Everybody cheered.
Oh man, good for him though.
So he's all, and I guess somebody else came back. Well, obviously somebody else came back and covered him, but it was close to the end of the round. So that'd have been nice to see.
Yeah. It kind of sucks though when you get an eagle and it gets covered.
Right. Because usually they don't.
Yeah. But I mean, hell, you got an eagle, so be happy with that and take it and move on.
Right.
But, so what was the inside like? So I don't know if you actually looked at the pictures that Dennis sent. Tennis should not be. When you talk about most more blurry, I couldn't see anything.
Uh, so here at the clubhouse, they have some cabins on the 3rd floor, kind of like Butler cabin and at Augusta, that you can rent
Okay.
out and stay there. And they're I mean, they were hotel style little rooms. It was awesome. And then you have, your main entertainment area with some TVs, couches, and then you all share, community showers, things like that. But it's
Right.
connected to the men's locker room, which has a full bar up there, a wall of TVs. You can put whatever sport on, with couches, massage guns. I mean, you name it, they probably had it.
Wow.
And I mean, we got to spend some time there Sunday afternoon while we're all unwinding and playing silly gambling games, and you know how Dennis gets. So it was a good time. I had a great time there. Might stay there next time if we go up, because just to be able to experience that with other golfers that are there for that tournament. I mean, you wake up and you're right there. You can walk down and get your clubs and go to the range.
But if it's cold, you just stay inside.
Or you could
stay
do
in
that,
bed.
yeah. And then when you see people gathering because they're doing announcements, you can just run all the way down.
That's awesome. That's all. I'm pretty upset that I missed it. On one hand, but family stuff. You got to do family stuff, and that is what it is. And
We've both
wouldn't
been in
trade
that
that.
situation.
Wouldn't trade that either. So
Right.
but it is what it is. So hopefully next year we can. Hopefully next year we'll go back and we can be there and do this, because it's. Is what it
I
is.
want revenge, so we'll definitely figure it
Okay.
out.
All right. So there was something else that kind of got settled today. We've been talking about Stu's sub for at least a month,
Right.
maybe more than a month.
Right.
So yesterday, just want to let you know, yesterday, I had a bunch of stuff going on, and it was lunchtime, and I'd eaten a snack, and Jen said, "Well, I can either go get you a half a Stu's sub, or I can go get you, a salad from this, that, and the other place." I said, "Look, I'll make a deal with you. Go get me a salad and get me a full Stu sub tomorrow." And she said, "Well, how does that work?" So today she goes and she gets me a full Stu sub, and oh my gosh, it's so good. It is so good. I just got to tell you, but I do need to let everybody know that when Jen was there, she told the owner, or one of the owners, and the guy that was at the counter taking the order, that we've been talking about Stu's for about a month, and they had no idea. So just want to let them know, Johan and Jeff, thank you for the subs, and they gave us a shirt.
Nice.
And they didn't have one that would fit. And so I said, "Well, take the shirt they have, and I'll show it on air, and maybe we'll do a giveaway or something." And so Jen was here with me a little bit ago, and she was going to go home, and I was going to show you the shirt right now. You can see it.
She took it.
Probably not. She took it.
Yep.
So
it happens.
It happens. But let's I'll show you a shirt next time, and let's see if we can come up with a contest to give that away, because I mean, I can go Stu's and get a shirt anytime, but let's spread the love here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're getting me excited, and we're still what, 5.5 months away, and I want a Stu sub now. Can you just send me one? Because I remember how good they were. It might not be as good when it gets here, but
well, so I told you I got a full one, right? And there's no need to have a full one. There's not. But you have a half. If you just eat a half one, you're gonna say, "Hey, man, I want more."
I think I had a half with their soup, which was really good.
But I ate the whole thing. I ate the whole thing.
I don't blame
After that, I'm like, "Oh my god!" But it's so good. Stu's is the best. Thank you, Johan and Jeff, for what you guys do. And we'll get the shirt up next time, and we'll come up with a good contest. Make sure we get that out.
Yeah, maybe the
And,
winner can come have a lunch with us at
That'd be
Stu
great.
Sub while we're at Nationals.
That'd be awesome. So we got that. That's settled. We're not going to hell because of Mother's Day.
Nope.
Again, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Don't forget the raffle.
Yeah, the iron raffle.
Yeah, so if you want in on the iron raffle, $10 Venmo, all that's in the. I'll put that in the show notes, and we'll go from there. There was something else that we're missing that we want to talk about. Oh, how can we forget this? Player of the month. Today is the last day to get your
entries.
nominations in tour directors. Yep. Today, May 5th. So if you're listening to it on Tuesday,
You're already
it's
too late. Save it.
Monday, May 5th.
Save it for me.
Save it for May. But you know what, Chris? I don't know if you've been copying on all of them, but we got some really good nominations so far.
I've
I mean,
been
really
copied
good.
on most of them, I think. I think
and
after the 50th reply all, people started realizing not to reply all and just reply to us. But
Oh my gosh.
I've read a couple of them, and it's gonna be tough. It's going
It
to be
is.
tough.
And I appreciate all of the tour directors doing this and taking their time
Right.
to do it. And again, it's really, it's not for us. It's for honoring your members.
Yes,
And
definitely.
because that's what this podcast is about anyway. It's not about us. It's not about tour directors. It's about our members.
Right.
And sharing things with them. So looking forward to that. And we may have a new graphic for it.
Yeah.
We're still working on that. And once that's approved, we'll make sure that we share that and give the person credit who came up with it and designed it. It looks pretty good. But again, we got to get the approval before we just send it out.
Approvals are always needed, but it'll help us. It'll help you and me stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I don't need trouble, man.
No.
I really don't. And with what Dennis and Jennifer have going on with her parents, I don't want to be the cause of any more
Unneeded stress.
any more than any of the stress I'm normally causing them. I'm trying to cut back on that, but you know
Right,
how
right.
that goes sometimes.
Right.
Anyway, what else you got? I mean, you got Beat the Heat.
We just finished Beat the Heat in the mountains. As we're recording this, I know it's gonna be a great time. When you hear this, there'll be new winners, and hopefully I'm one of them. But it's always a great time to take out the family. I'm taking the family up there. Just get a nice little cabin and hang out, watch the deer roam in the back as you're trying to just chill and have a weekend away from the craziness of the city.
Yeah. What's it like in El Paso right now, weather-wise? Is it getting hot?
Same, hotter with dust. I could taste the dust when I landed from Ohio. It was
You loved
bad.
it, huh? It's good to be home. Give me some dust. It is what it is, man.
Right.
So, well, dude, it's good seeing you. I really wish I could have seen, your brother and Chris and all you guys. But
Right. Well, next time I'll take you to this nice pizza joint we found out there, Luigi's Pizza.
Luigi,
So good,
I like pizza. I mean,
so good.
if you look at me, I like pretty much everything. I don't like onions or asparagus, or sweet potatoes. But I mean,
The 3 good things for you. Makes sense.
it's good times, my friend. Good times. Well, you travel safe this weekend, and
Appreciate it.
Best to the family,
Likewise.
and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's a wrap for this week's episode. But Chris, after all this time, you would think we would remember this stuff.
We forgot to tell people how to register, didn't we?
Yep. Take it away.
Well, if you're not already part of the Golfweek Amateur Tour, what are you waiting for? Grab your clubs, join the fun, and see what competitive golf is all about. You can sign up today and start meeting some incredible folks who love the game as much as you do.
All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And hey, don't forget, if you're enjoying the podcast, you can catch us on all of the major podcast platforms. Be sure to download, share it with your golf buddies, and throw us a quick review if you're feeling the love. It helps us keep bringing you the good stuff and reaching even more golfers out there. Thanks for hanging with us, and until next time, keep swinging and having fun out there.
We'll see you next time. Take care.